comprehension to the 6th lecture. Here, grammar, adverbs of frequency. Adverbs of frequency, number 1, always. In all situations. For example, I always get up early. 2, usually. What happens in most situations? I'm usually in bed by 10 p.m. 3, often. What happens in many situations? Dad and I often spend the morning picking fruit. 4, sometimes. What happens in some situations? Example, I sometimes drive the tractor. 5, never, at no time, not at all. Example, I never stay in. Adverbs of frequency. Underline the best adverb to make true sentence about Roland or Jessica. Number 1. Roland's family always has eggs for breakfast. So the underlined adverb is the correct one. Number 2. They always go to the Saturday market. They here refer to Roland and his family. So they always go to the Saturday market. Number 3. Roland usually has sandwiches for lunch. 4. Roland sometimes swims in the river. 5. He often plays pool on a Saturday night. Jessica's bus usually takes 30 minutes to get into town. 7. She always goes out on a Saturday night. 8. She sometimes sees her parents at the weekend. Affective skills. Skimming and scanning. Read the text quickly to find these words in bold and complete the sentence. Words: rare, rarer, populated, available, overcrowded, urban. Number 1. We can't eat here now because there are no tables available. I want to live in the city because I prefer an urban lifestyle. Number 3. If you like the country, it's better to live in a rural area. 4. I hate the train in the morning when there are too many people. It's so overcrowded. 5. With 19 million people, New York is America's most populated. Is America's most populated. Living in the city. Paragraph 1 and 2. So in this slide we have 2 paragraphs. Jessica's father moved to the city because he wanted a better job. So paragraph 1, it consists of only one sentence. I know I did the right thing, he says. I have a good job and earn a lot of money. I also know that the education Jessica has here is better than in the country. She is going to university this autumn. The healthcare facilities are also good. The main hospital is just a few blocks away if there is an emergency. The sports facilities are excellent too. I usually play squash and swim twice a week. My wife and I sometimes go to the theater in the evening or see an exhibition. Word definitions. Education. Education is a noun. What does mean education? The teaching or training people, especially in schools, universities, colleges, etc., to improve their knowledge and develop their skills. So that's what does mean education. The teaching or training people, especially in schools, universities, college, etc., to improve their knowledge and develop their skills. Facilities, plural. It's a plural noun. Building, services, equipments, etc., that are provided for a particular purpose. Facilities, singular facility, plural facilities, buildings, services, equipments, etc., that are provided for a particular purpose. Emergency, it's a noun. A sudden, serious, and dangerous event or situation which needs immediate action to deal with it. Exhibition, it's a noun. A collection of things, for example, works of art that are shown to the public. Word derivation. Education is a noun. Educational, adjective. Emergency is a noun. Emergent is an adjective. Education, noun. Educate, verb. Emergency, noun. Emerge, verb. Exhibition, noun. Exhibit, verb. Facility, noun. Facilitate, verb. Now we need to go back to the first two paragraphs, paragraph 1 and 2. Jessica's father moved to the city. Moved to the city means moved from country to the city because he wanted a better job. Because in a city he can or he could get a better job. I know I did the right thing, he says. So Jessica's father says that he did the right thing when he moved to the city. I have a good job and earn a lot of money. So he says that he did the right thing to move to the city because in the city he has a good job and earns a lot of money. I also know that the education Jessica has here is better than in the country. He also believes that education in city is better than in the country. So he says that the education his daughter Jessica has in the city is better than the education in the country. She is going to university this autumn. The healthcare facilities are also good. The main hospital is just a few blocks away if there is an emergency. So there is another reason. He says that there is another reason. Make sure that he did the right thing, that the healthcare facilities in cities are good and the main hospital is near if there is an emergency. The sports facilities are excellent too. He also says that there are sports facilities in city. I usually play squash and swim twice a week. My wife and I sometimes go to the theater in the evening or see an exhibition. So Jessica's father says that he did the right thing when he moved to the city, because in city he has a good job. Jessica has a better education. In city there are many healthcare facilities. He also says that in city there are sports facilities and he can go with his family, with his wife, to the theater in the evening and see an exhibition. Okay. Now, paragraph 3. On the other hand, it's also an expensive place to live. So, on the other hand here, when we find this expression, this means that there is a contrast between the previous paragraphs and this paragraph. So when we say like, however, like on the other hand, so this means that he is going to tell us some disadvantages of living in the city. So in the first and in the second paragraph, Jessica's father tells us the advantages of living in the city. Now, in the third paragraph, which begins in the phrase on the other hand, tells us that this paragraph is going to contrast with the previous ones. In other words, in the third paragraph, Jessica's father is going to tell us some disadvantages of living in the city. So, on the other hand, it's also an expensive place to live. So, it here refers to the city. This means that city is also an expensive place to live. We can't live in a large house like Rolando's family. So, the first disadvantage of living in the city, that city is an expensive place. In city, here, Jessica's father says that they can't live in a large house like Rolando's family. Jessica has a lot of fun though. Often we don't see her at the weekend, but I'm happy because there is lots for her to do. So he also says that Jessica has lots of fun, so that her parents, her father and mother, do not see her at the weekend. But he says that I'm happy because there's lots for her to do. She has many choices: where to shop, what to eat, who her friends are, that are not available in the country. I think Rolando's life is more boring. So here in this paragraph, Jessica's father says that There are some disadvantages of living in the city, that the city is an expensive place. In the city, you can't live in a big house. His daughter Jessica, because she has a lot of fun and she has many friends, so that her parents cannot see her, or they don't see her at the weekend. But at the end of the paragraph he says that he is happy because there is lots for her daughter to do, and she has many choices: where to shop, what to eat, who her friends are, which are not available in the country. And he says that Rolando's life is more boring, so that I think Rolando's life is more boring. Now here word definitions. Expensive means costs a lot of money. The opposite of expensive, inexpensive or cheap. Choice is a noun. The act of choosing between two or more things or people. Available, adjective, that you can get, use or buy, etc. When I say something is available, this means that I can get it, or I can use, or I can buy it. Available. So here we have expensive, the opposite of expensive, inexpensive or cheap. Choice, the act of choosing between two or more things or people. Available, that you can get or you use or buy, etc. Here word derivation. Choice is a noun. Choose is a verb. It's a regular verb. Choose, chose, chosen. Choose, infinitive. Chose, past simple. Chosen, past participle. So choice is a noun. Choose, a verb. Place is a noun. Place is a verb. So the same word place can be a noun and it can be a verb. Life, noun. Live, verb. Now word derivation, noun and adjective. Availability, noun. In the previous slide we know that available is an adjective, but availability is noun. Available, adjective. Happiness is a noun. Happiness is a noun. Happy is an adjective. Now, living in the city. Paragraph 4. Jessica's father is not alone in coming to the city for work. Many people come looking for a job. Others come to study and then stay. In 2006, according to the United Nations, about the same number of people worldwide lived in the country and in the city. Now, more people live in the city. We know the definitions of some words. Look for. Look for. It's a verb. Means to try to find something. It's a synonym of research. So look for. When I say I'm looking for my, for example, mobile phone, this means that to try to find it. According to its a proposition, as stated or reported by someone. according to Jessica's father means as stated or reported by Jessica's father. Worldwide, it's an adverb affecting all parts of the world. Worldwide, it's an adverb means affecting all parts of the world. Now we go back to paragraph 4 to explain in details. Jessica's father is not alone in coming to the city for work. This means that there are many other people are coming to the city for work. So Jessica's father is not alone in coming to the city for work. This means that there are many people coming to the city for work. Many people come looking for a job. Others come to study and then stay. So many people come looking for a job, come trying to get a job. Others means other people come to study and then stay in cities. So in 2006, according to the United Nations, about the same number of people worldwide lived in the country and in the city. Now more people live in the city. So more people live in the city because in city there is a job, there is a chance to study in a good universities. So more people live in the city. Now, paragraph 5. Africa has the highest rate of urban growth, but Asia has more people living in urban areas. Six out of the 10 biggest cities in the world are in Asia. In 2015, Asia will have more people living in cities than the rest of the world put together. For example, the USA has about 40 cities of more than 1 million people, but China has over 100. Japan is one of the world's most densely populated nations, with a minority of people living in rural areas. So with a minority of people living in rural areas. Now here we have many words need to be discussed. Growth, it's a noun, of course. An increase in the amount, size, or degree of something. Growth is a synonym of increase, rise, growth. So growth, an increase in the amount, an increase in the size, an increase in the degree of something. Rest of the remaining people or things. Dense, it's an adjective containing a lot of people, containing a lot of things or plants, etc. So dense, containing a lot of people, things, plants, etc. Populate is a verb to live in an area and form its population. So populate, to live in an area and form its population. Nation, noun, a country considered as a group of people with the same language, culture, and history who live in a particular area under one government. Minority, noun, the smaller part of a group, less than half of people or things in a large group. The opposite is majority. Minority, majority is the opposite. Rural, adjective, connected with the countryside. Connected with the countryside. Now, word derivation, dense, adjective, density, noun. Populated, adjective, population, noun. National, adjective, nation, noun. Now, word derivation, noun and verb. Population is a noun. Populate is a verb. Growth is a noun. Grow is a verb. Grow is irregular verb. Infinitive grow. Past grew. Past participle grown. So now we are going to read paragraph 6 and illustrate the main points in it. Africa has the highest rate of urban growth. This means that Africa has the highest rate of people that moving to live in the cities. That's what does mean. Africa has the highest rate of urban growth. But Asia has more people living in urban areas. So also Asia has more people living in urban areas. 6 out of the 10 biggest cities in the world are in Asia. So in the world there are 10 biggest cities in the world. So there are 10 biggest cities in the world. 6 out of these 10 biggest cities are in Asia. In 215, Asia will have more people living in cities than the rest of the world put together. So Asia will have more people living in the cities than the rest of the world put together. For example, the USA has about 40 cities of more than 1 million people, but China has over 100. Japanese is one of the world's most densely populated nations with a minority of people living in rural areas. We know that China is in Asia, Japan is in Asia, so USA has about 40 cities for more than 1 million people. China has over 100. Japanese is one of the world's most densely populated nations with a minority of people living in rural areas. Now paragraph 6 and 7. So this text, you can see that starts paragraph 1 in one sentence and ends the paragraph in only one sentence. So you can see here we have 2 paragraphs. Paragraph 6 And paragraph 7, which consists only of one sentence. What is the result of this urban growth? In other words, why are people moving to live in cities? So what is the result of this urban growth? It's overcrowded cities with little fresh air. So when people move to live in the cities, this causes in overcrowding in the cities, and little fresh air. Lots of noise. Cities are noisy, so lots of noise and more pollution. On the other hand, cities offer greater choice, higher salaries, and more cultural activities. So paragraph 6 here shows us the advantages or summarizes the advantages of living to cities and disadvantages of living in cities. Jessica and her family prefer the city. Do you prefer it too? It's a question for you. Do you prefer the city too? Now we know where definitions here. Overcrowded is an adjective of a place with too many people or things in it. When we say cities are overcrowded, this means that there are too many people in cities. So overcrowded, adjective of a place with too many people or things in it. Pollution, it's a noun. The process of making air, water, soil, etc. dirty. Pollution, the process of making air, water, soil, etc. dirty, not clean, not pure. Offer, it's a verb. To say that you are willing to do something for somebody or give something to someone. Offer. Salary, it's a noun. Money that employees receive for doing their jobs. Prefer, it's a verb. To like one thing or person better than another. Word derivation. Verb and noun. Pollute is a verb. Pollution is a noun. Prefer, verb. Preferness is a noun. Activate is a verb. Activity is a noun. Offer is a verb. Offer is a noun. Now, noun, adjective. Activity, noun. Active is a verb. Pollution is a noun. Polluted is an adjective. Overcrowding is a noun. Overcrowded is an adjective. Offer is a noun. Offered is an adjective. Okay. Now, paragraph 6 and 7. What is the result of this urban growth? So, what are the consequences of moving people to live in the cities? The paragraph 6 says it's overcrowded cities with little fresh air, lots of noise and more pollution. So, when people move to live in cities, cities are going to be overcrowded, and as a result, fresh air will be not fresh, and cities are going to be noisy, and as a result there will be more pollution. On the other hand, so when we find this expression, this means that the following sentences are going to contrast with the first ones. So on the other hand, cities offer greater choice here. So cities are overcrowded. There is little fresh air in cities, lots of noise and more pollution in cities. On the other hand, so the advantages of cities, that cities offer greater choices in jobs and in education, of course, also in healthcare facilities, in sports facilities, anything, higher salaries and more cultural activities. It's a very short paragraph, but it summarizes the advantages and disadvantages of moving to the cities, to live in a city. The last paragraph, which consists of only one line, 2 sentences. Jessica and her father prefer the city. So they prefer the city. Jessica and her father prefer to live in the city. Here there is a question for you. Do you prefer it too? Do you prefer the city too? So now paragraph 6 and 7 are the last ones in the text. Now, general understanding. Decide if the sentences are true, T, or false, F. Number 1. Jessica's father wants to live in a large house in the country. So, it's a clear false. He doesn't say so. He says that in city, you can't live in a big house as Rolando's families do. Rolando's family does. He says so, but he doesn't say that he wants to live in a large house in the country. Number 2, he thinks that Jessica's life is more interesting than her cousin's. He thinks Jessica's father, means he refers to Jessica's father, thinks that Jessica's life is more interesting than her cousins. It's true. It's true. More than 50% of world's population live in the country. It's false. 4. Africa has the fastest growth city or cities in the world. It's true. 5. More than 3/4 of Japanese people live in urban areas. It's true. There are good things and bad things about living in the city. It's true. Now, vocabulary in context. Find 2 words or phrases in the text that are related to the words in the column. For example, work. So here in the column, work, here we have work as example. So related words for work, good job, earn money. Number 1, health care. Health care. We need to find 2 words or phrases in the text that are related to health care. I write them: healthcare facilities, hospital. Healthcare facilities, hospital. We go back to look at the here. I wanted a better job. So job is a word related to work. I know I did the right thing. He says I have a good job. A good job is a word related to work. And earn a lot of money. Earn a lot of money related to this word, this phrase related to work. I also know that the education Jessica has is better than in the country. Here we have the education. So related word for education. She is going to university this autumn. So university is a word related to education. So the healthcare facilities are also good. The main hospital is just a few blocks away if there is an emergency. So related words or phrases to the healthcare facilities are main hospital or hospital and emergency The sports facilities are excellent too. I usually play squash and swim. So play squash and swim are related words to sports facilities. Sports facilities. So now here in the column number 1, healthcare, related words or phrases for healthcare facilities اللي هي hospital, emergency. Education, university is a related word to education. Sports, squash, swim. Squash and swim are words related to sports. Culture, so theater, exhibition, where are words related to culture. Continents, Africa, Asia, and America are continents. Now reading for details. Match a beginning from 1 to 6 and an ending from A to F to make through sentence about the text. Number 1. Jessica's father. You can see beside number 1 F. So number 1 should be matched to F. Jessica's father plays sports a couple of times a week. Jessica's father plays sports a couple of times a week. Number 2. Jessica's parents Jessica's parents like going to see plays in the evening. Jessica's parents like going to see plays in the evening. Number 3, Jessica is going to university after the summer. You can see the letter E, so matching should be with the letter E. You have PDF here in WhatsApp. You can read the book. You are going to find these, but not in this order. I write them in this way because I can't match them. I don't know the technique for matching when I use them electronically. But when you have the PDF, you can use these answers and try to understand it more when you read it in the book. So Jessica E is going to university after the summer. Number 4, Rolanda's family live in a large house. 5, Ija has the biggest cities in the world. China has more than 100 million people living in cities. So here we come to the end. We need to read the paragraphs again from the beginning. Paragraph 1, yes, 1 and 2. Jessica's father moved to the city because he wanted a better job. I know I did the right thing, he says. I have a good job and earn a lot of money. I also know that the education Jessica has here is better than in the country. She is going to university this autumn. The health care facilities are also good. The main hospital is just a few blocks away if there is an emergency. The sports facilities are excellent too. I usually play squash and swim twice a week. My wife and I sometimes go to the theater in the evening or see an exhibition. Now, paragraph 3. On the other hand, be careful to such expressions here or phrases. So, on the other hand, although, however, all these phrases tells us that the following sentence contrasts with the first one. So, on the other hand, it's also an expensive place to live. We can't live in a large house like Rolanda's family. Jessica has a lot of fun, though. Often we don't see her at the weekend, but I'm happy because there's lots for her to do. She has many choices where to shop, what to eat, who her friends are that are not available in the country. I think Rolanda's life is more boring. Now, paragraph 4. Jessica's father is not alone in coming to the city for work. Many people come looking for a job. Others come to study and then stay. In 2006, according to the United Nations, about the same number of people worldwide lived in the country and in the city. Now more people live in the city. Word definitions. Sorry, we need to read the paragraphs only. Paragraph 5. Africa has the highest rate of urban growth, but Asia has more people living in urban areas. 6 out of the 10 biggest cities in the world are in Asia. In 2015, Asia will have more people living in cities than the rest of the world put together. For example, the USA has about 40 cities of more than 1 million people, but China has over 100. Japan is one of the world's most densely populated nations, with a minority of people living in rural areas. Now, paragraph 6 and 7. What is the result of this urban growth? It's overcrowded cities with little fresh air, lots of noise and more pollution. On the other hand, cities offer greater choice, higher salaries, and more cultural activities. Jessica and her family prefer the city. Do you prefer it too? So now we come to the end of our lecture. See you in the next lecture, inshallah.